Hey, everybody. Thank you for hopping on this evening show. So, we got a wonderful guest this evening. So, before I go into introducing my guest for this evening, let me go ahead and get a lot of the things out of the way that I want to talk about. So, um, real quickly, guys, if you're checking us out for the first time on social media, you can find us on our YouTube channel, and it is Made from Scratch broadcast on YouTube. If you check us out on YouTube, do us a favor, hit the like and subscribe button. We're trying to build our viewership there. Um, it gives us a little bit more flexibility, and creatively, we're able to do a lot more things. So we really would appreciate it if you guys are watching us live to go ahead and just give us a subscribe and drop in the comments. I'll answer them after the show, and I usually drop a lot of the show notes there as well. So you can also check us out on Facebook. And at Facebook, you can find us at Made from Scratch Podcast. So you can go there. We're streaming live right now on Facebook as well. We also stream on Twitter. So if you want to follow us on Twitter, we are at MFSB Live on Twitter, and we stream there. And I'm starting to put a lot of original content on the Twitter platform as well. And then we do a little bit of a different thing on Instagram. So we do a little behind the scenes sort of thing. You can see just my part of the conversation, but again, it's behind the scenes, and I try to talk to and show little things that I don't show like this on the regular show. So you can follow us there at Made from Scratch broadcast there as well. And then I do repurpose and put a lot of the stuff on my Instagram channel there on my IGTV. You can go find past episodes. You can go find small little repurposed clips that I'm putting on there as well, and just a lot of different things that I want to share there on Instagram. Trying to add content onto that platform as well, and then hopefully I do repurpose and put a lot of stuff on LinkedIn, and hopefully one day I'll have a LinkedIn Live so I can go ahead and stream there as well. But again, those are all the social media platforms, guys. You can check us out at any of them there, and we'll have a website up pretty soon, and I'll be streaming the show there as well. So those things are a lot of things are in the works that I have going right now. And then we do have a podcast. I do put this in podcast form. So if you want to check that out, you can go to, you can actually go find it on Google Podcasts. We are on Spotify. We are on Breaker. We are on Overcast. So, and you can go to Anchor as well, and you'll find the show there. Just type in Made from Scratch Podcast, and you should find it'll pull up to our page, and then you can go see you can go hear all the past episodes as well. It gives you the option of listening to the show with or without music, because I do put a little background music in there as well. So thank you for coming along and following me this evening. And now let me go ahead and start introducing my guest. She is she's a connector, an accountable coach, a mentor, and a problem solver who enjoys making a difference and helping people find their purpose. She does career coaching and life coaching, excuse me. And she's a lifelong learner who likes to inform, teach, and she knows she's got her website, which is Knowability Consulting, that you can go check out. She's certified in UMAPS and Workplace 4.0 coaching. So she's got a long list of accomplishments that, she's put into her coaching practice. And that's kind of like what I find interesting right now, because a lot of people are going to be reaching out for life coaches because life is changing very quickly if you don't know. So check her website out. It is at www.knowbility consulting.com. And without further ado, guys, I'm going to introduce you to Lori Knudsen. She is my guest for this evening. So let me bring her in. Hello, Lori.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm great. Thank you for having me. I'm excited to be here.
Thank you for coming on. And we already have people voicing comments. And here's one of ours right there.
Wendy. Hey,
yes. Hello, Wendy. Wendy's been on the show already, and I'm grateful that she came on. We had a good conversation, and we talked a lot about what she was doing as well. So she just wants to say hello. So Awesome. Thank you for joining, Wendy. I appreciate it. So let's start with you. And one of the first questions I'm going to go ahead and ask you is, how would you describe yourself to my audience, for viewers who are just being introduced to Lori Knudsen for the first time?
Okay. Well, I mean, you kind of did a little bit of intro. So I
Yeah.
would say, I came from a healthcare background in career in sales of over 20 years. And it was there that I really discovered my love of training and mentoring of others. And, through corporate downsizing and starting over again and again. And I just, at one point in January of 2018, I said, I really kind of want to do something, but don't know what that, I mean, I wanted to do training, but yet I didn't really know what that looked like. And I connected with Kristen Sherry, my coach, and she was wonderful. And it still took me a while to transition. I was slow to do it, but I kind of knew then in the back of my mind, it's like I wanted to work with corporate. And at first, one-on-one wasn't even on my radar. And then I started coaching one-on-one and working with individuals and really enjoyed that. And so now I kind of have a mix of both.
Yeah.
So it's fun. I mean, it's just looking back now after like going through my assessments and stuff, so much makes sense. But if you would have ever said, do you think you're going to be a coach one day, or you're going to be, consulting or doing anything like that, I would have said no.
Yeah. And again, that just to mention her, that Kristen Sherry coaching tree kind of has spread its tentacles pretty far.
Yeah, she's
to a
amazing.
lot of people. Yeah. So, I would love to have her just come on one day to talk to her, because again, she's interesting and she's putting a lot of good stuff out there that a lot of people are really sharing. And, one more comment. Check that out.
Hello, Miss Sherry Lally.
Yes. Incredible. I love this. So
I love this. I can see the comments as they're popping up. This is awesome.
This is awesome, right? So this is pretty cool. So let's go a little bit deeper. The next question I have is, you're a career coach and a consultant. So how are you able to help people right now in this environment of uncertainty that we're having, right? It's going on around us.
Well, I mean, now more than ever, it's, to say the least, it's going to be a flooded market, unfortunately. I mean, there's a lot of people that have been downsized due to what's happening, and having the ability to stand out and know what you do well and be able to articulate that is really going to be important, because the people that can communicate what they do well, what areas aren't good for them, because that's just as important, because otherwise you spend so much time applying for the wrong roles or the wrong jobs that aren't a good fit. And I was guilty of this too in the past. You just see a job pop up and you're like, oh, I got to apply for that. And it's like, you're not even going to get through the ATS system. You're not a good fit. If you got that job, usually it's a blessing in disguise that you didn't, because it wasn't going to be a good fit. But having the ability and the clarity and the confidence and self-awareness, it's a particularly good investment right now to make in yourself, or at least do some of the exercises. If you can't afford to work with a coach, there's a lot of stuff out there on LinkedIn that can help you.
Yeah, exactly. And that kind of leads into my next question. So what advice would you give someone looking to make a career change right now, in this, this whole market of uncertainty? So, what do you tell somebody?
A couple of things. I mean, one, I would check, particularly in the US, I mean, most of the libraries now have, at least my local library does, they have basically lynda.com, like the LinkedIn Learning.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you can take, like, if you wanted to do programming and learn languages, or just even learn like an actual language you speak, different types of social media skills, all of those things are, on there for you to do in the training. So
Yeah.
I would highly recommend, looking into that because it's free. I mean, all it call and they're even doing the library cards. I know in my area online now. You
Yeah.
don't, because obviously you can't go in.
Yeah.
Uh, the other thing is like through I mean, they're called different things, but like the unemployment agency where you go, some of them will offer courses and classes
Yeah.
too to help you. So, I mean, take advantage of that, but network, network, network. That is like the biggest advice. And I know it sounds like, okay, really, how's that going to help me? I can tell you I was the poster child for doing everything wrong when I first was downsized from a company I'd worked
Hmm.
for almost 17 years, because you have like this network in your little silo of your industry, and you think that's where you've got a network, but actually it's everybody, because you never know who they know or who their neighbor is, and it's kind of like 6 degrees of Kevin Bacon, because you always want to, just not rule people out. And I see people like that. They're like, well, I don't connect with them because they're not in my area. And I'm like, but you don't know who, they might be. I mean, it's really short-sighted. So that's one of the purposes, of networking, but being clear about what you're looking for. And so this is a really important step. If you can work with a coach, I do recommend it,
Yeah.
because it will get you ahead of the game. But if you can't, then look at every job that you've held and think about, because even in every job, doesn't matter what you were doing, think of the things that you felt happiest doing.
Yeah.
Who was around? Were you with people? Were you by yourself? Were you performing kind of like uh, like a routine thing? Some people really do like that. They like that, that consistency. Other people want their days to look different. They love that challenge of always doing different endeavors. And then also think about those times when you didn't feel happy or you just felt dread. Like think of the tasks that
Yeah.
uh, you just dread. And when you think about that, make those lists and then kind of look at that, and then look at job descriptions and see, okay, what lines up,
Yeah.
and then ask people too, what are 3 things that they would say you do well,
Yeah.
and
Exactly.
take, former coworkers, or if it's teachers, if you're a student, whatever the case might be, get some feedback and just ask them and kind of look for the common areas, because sometimes and I still did this even after I did my assessments, and it was interesting because some of the things people came back with were not things I expected.
Yeah.
And but it's nice to do that. I'm trying to think. Also, your values. I mean, that's a component of the UMAP profile. And the reason I bring that in is you want to really know what your absolute must-haves are. And this is personal, professional, looking at those things that are basically deal breakers for you. Like you could not work in this environment with this type of person or selling this product or whatever the case might be. Whatever you don't want to have a conflict or violation of your values.
Yeah.
So those things are important. But I think thinking about how you like to work, and I can only speak for myself, but I
Of
think
course.
just anecdotally, even with people, I observe like we fall in love with an idea or a title, but we often don't really think about, okay, how much of that, which we think is so appealing, is really the job?
Yeah.
The day to day. It's like, and
Yes.
where's the work conducted? I mean, if you're actually thinking about changing careers, I mean, am I working in an open office environment? If you're an
Yeah.
introvert, that can be a nightmare. If you're working in cubicles, if you're working from home, and actually extroverts, some people are really struggling working from home, or if you're not disciplined,
Yeah.
because you have to treat it like the office, and it is easy to be like squirrel. It's like, I'm going to do a little laundry, I'm going to do this, but
Yeah, of course.
eventually you're like, okay, where did the day go? So you just have to be really honest with how you work best.
Yeah.
And then look at go to Indeed.com, look at job descriptions and kind of match up, like areas that you're thinking about, and see where you stand in that area.
Yeah, definitely. Again, because everybody's having to adapt to everything that's going on. So again, like you said, people who are extroverts, they're probably having a hard time adjusting to trying to put all this together, trying to, figure out what their routine is. And
Mm-hmm.
again, this is something we were talking about before. And even now, even if everything continues and we do get past this and we go into a new sort of lifestyle afterwards, I think the way that business is conducted is going to change, right? You might have businesses that say, maybe we don't need to have a brick and mortar business to operate. So people that are employed who might be working from home now, that might be their permanent
Yeah.
thing. So it's good to go ahead now to get used to a routine of how to operate, how to still do your job and still be productive,
Yeah.
just like you would in the office.
Yeah. I mean, it's interesting because I always worked out of well, I haven't always, but for like the 20 years that I was in sales, I worked technically out of my home because my regional office or my corporate office was in another state. But the my office and everything, but I would leave in the morning, right? And I'd
Yeah,
leave, I'd go out, make my calls, and I come back at night, do my paperwork and everything. So even though I never really went to an office, it was still different when it was just me and starting my own business. And then, saying, okay, it's 10 o'clock. I think it's time to lose the pajama pants. And,
yeah,
I mean, you have to get up, get dressed, do your routine, just like you would, like you're going to the office. You have to, whatever it is, if you get up and work out in the morning, you have to kind of keep yourself in that mentality and mode so that you do build in and schedule a structure.
yeah, exactly. And that's again, that's an interesting thing that we're all literally facing right now is that
Mm-hmm.
just having to learn how to operate. And again, even if you're going out into, even if you have an essential job,
Mm-hmm.
even that has changed the way that you conduct business, because again, you cannot operate, and again, you would still have that contact, but again, you have to figure out ways to keep your employees safe. You still have, because again, the only way we're going to stop a lot of this is going on is by, until there's a vaccine, it's going to be having to do what we're doing now, keeping limited contact. And
Mm-hmm.
again, so people who are having to actually go and delivery people, service people, even they are having to adapt how they're doing their everyday jobs. So they can't just go, hey, I'm going to go knock on the door. I'm going to go. A lot of the policies are, hey, we're just dropping it and leaving,
Yeah.
because they want to limit exposure as well to their employees. Because again, one of them gets it, who knows what can happen. Because again, I know this from experience, because that's what I'm doing now. I'm in quarantine, and they got them on day number 9. That because I did I did come in contact with somebody who tested positive for COVID-19. Now I don't have any symptoms. I don't have anything. Um, I was wearing I had gloves, mask, PPE, but again, you come in contact with somebody like that, it's a scary thought to think about. And
Yeah, it is.
so again, you're putting a lot of these people are taking risks, and especially like doctors, nurses, those people on the front lines.
Mm-hmm.
They're probably going through a lot of the same things. So even face to face interactions have changed. So we're all adapting, and we're all just trying to do as best we can. And
Mm-hmm.
it's gonna be a different change for a while. So oh, there's one, right? So we can put that into the sources afterwards. So Sherry's question was the name of the library resource Lori was mentioning. So maybe people can actually
Yeah.
go
I'll have
look.
to look it up on
Yeah,
my library. I mean, it's similar to the LinkedIn Learning. I think it's like lynda.com, like LYNDA, I want to
yeah,
say. But they have that source.
yeah.
So
And again, she can share it
it's through
with
my
me.
county. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
and
I'll
share it
look
with
at
me.
that.
Yeah, and I'll put it in the show notes afterwards. There'll be a link you can go to when you watch it on the YouTube page. You'll see it in the description, and I'll put it in there. So if anybody wants to go check that out, but it's a good way. Try to find
Yeah,
these.
I mean, if you got, this is the time. I mean,
Yeah. So
use the time, and especially if you aren't working, you really have that time to kind of ramp up and uh, get those things in place. Or if you are trying to learn a new skill or something, or just
yeah,
reskill, up your skills, make yourself more marketable. I mean, they have everything from just the Microsoft Suite and PowerPoint, Excel, Google. I mean, so it's from basics all the way up to like programming languages and
yeah,
management.
and it's pretty interesting because I was actually on a Zoom call today with they had a LinkedIn webinar, right? And
Mm-hmm.
they're kind of showing people walking through. So if you have a premium account with
Mm-hmm.
a business account with LinkedIn, you have access to a lot of these learning resources.
That's
So,
true. That's true. You do.
so
You have the whole. If you just go up one to the paid premium, then you get the LinkedIn Learning
yeah,
access.
yeah, and you get certifications that you can put on your site and everything else. So that's an interesting
Mm-hmm.
little aspect as well if you want to find resources to kind of help yourself grow right now. Because again, that's the thing that I'm stressing. If you're here at home, you don't have a job, learn skills, get skills, work on skills, just to,
Yeah.
so, because again, we're going to get past all this. So once we do, those who have spent the time and put in the work and do the things, they're going to be able to just start shooting off once everything starts running. And same thing with business. So,
Yeah. Definitely.
that's the thing I've been hearing, the themes that I've been hearing in a lot of these calls and these conversations that I have with people. So, real quick, let me see what Wendy had placed something. So, yeah, we'll get through this. One day at a time, learn to grow. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. This is the new normalcy. That's right. That's what I've been calling it as well. So, and then again, you you can do podcasting is another way, right? You can go back and you can listen to
Oh
podcasts.
yeah.
Uh,
That's a great tip too. I
yeah,
mean,
great tip.
I do a lot of that now. It's like I've gotten where I'm like reading. What is this? It's like
Yeah,
I'm like everything's like reading or watching talks and webinars and
yeah, and
and
there's
podcasts. I just
there's so many resources, people. So I did a lot of my learning through YouTube. I've done a lot of
Mhm.
my learning through listening through Audible, through audiobooks.
Yeah, I know. I love
So
that.
yeah, so you can consume a lot of things, and it helps you, it helps you build a stronger foundation. And again, going forward, it's just going to help you out. And when you get past this, if you want to make that career change, guess what? These are things that you can do to hop to the next level. So that kind of leads me to what I want to talk about the next screen. How did you develop your coaching style and unique approach to uh, teaching people? How did that develop?
I, I mean, I don't. I was trying to think about this earlier. You'd think I'd have like this great answer all ready to go for you, right? I
Yeah.
mean, it's me. I mean, it really is.
Yeah.
And my style has always been more of an educator and teacher. I want to empower the people that I work with, whether it's an individual, whether it's a team or corporate group. I really want to give them what they need to succeed. So it's not like, I know I say in like my profile or whatever that I want to deliver a transformation, and that may give like eye rolls, but what I mean by that is I'm not really in there for the quick fix.
Yeah.
And that's not my style. I mean, my leading strength is responsibility. So I'm going to do what I say, do things right.
Yeah.
And and it's important to me. It's going to kill me, but I'll do it. And so, I'm more of like that, the educator, and I think, I'm just the feedback that I get from my clients that I've worked with is that I'm just able to, put them at ease, and they feel that, they can do this. They feel empowered, they feel confident, and so that makes me feel good because, that's what I'm trying to do.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. And you know, one of the questions that I wanted to ask again was, so if somebody's trying to make a career change and
Mhm.
they're seeing a lot of like life coaches and everything and that kind of interest, and what advice would you give someone who wanted to learn or become a life or career coach? So, some people again talking about changes and wanting to become and start helping people, that's one of the ways. So what advice
Sure.
would you give somebody who wanted to become a coach or wanted to get into coaching?
Well, my advice would be if you have the ability and you're already employed, start it on the side. That's always
Yeah.
best because it
There you
takes time to
Yeah.
build things up. I mean, it really does. You need to give yourself 2 years, potentially more. And what I can tell you just from the mistakes and things that I've made is just getting really clear on who you want to work with
Yeah.
and who you help. Because if you like the people that say I want to help divorced women over 40, get through, get back into the job market, or get through life. I mean, or if the people that have like a spiritual component, I mean, they're very niched in that. So people know exactly, it's like, okay, this is what she does or how she helps. And it's not as easy to do as it sounds. So it's do as I say, not as I do.
Yeah.
But it, I think that is really important. And you don't have to have the logo or, even the website right when you get started. I mean, you can do so much with a LinkedIn page, just with even your own personal page
Hmm.
and a Facebook page, and then really develop and grow from there. Um, some people don't have to have certificate, like I know some life coaches, they create their own things. They don't get certifications. For me, I'm very evidence based. I came from like medical and healthcare. And so I always like to have, that research uh, and evidence and
Yeah.
data. So that's important to me. And so that's why I chose what I did and use those tools and
Yeah.
framework.
Again, yeah, and that's really great advice. So yeah, guys, if you're trying to look into it, she's telling you, she's giving you the plan, she's mapped it out for you guys. So if you wanted to go start enacting it today, start building everything today.
Yeah, put the intention out there and just start,
Yeah.
because it's easy for me to say, again, poster child. I held myself back for a while because you sit there and second guess yourself, and it is really, you can research, you can learn, you can do stuff, but until you actually just start, uh, you're going to make mistakes, but
Yeah.
it's okay. It's not like anything that you're going to be like, oh my gosh, I can't ever get out of that. It's kind of like you just have to do and try and see what works, and go
Yeah.
from there.
Exactly. And again, everybody, you're gonna fail. Know this. It's part of what you're gonna do and grow. And
Yeah.
but again, take massive action.
Yeah.
This is what I've done. I've taken massive action in my life. You
You
know,
have.
so for a long time, I'm like everybody else. I sat on the back burner, procrastinated, say I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this,
Hmm.
and one day I said, you know what, I just have to start, and I just started. Again, put myself out there. Whatever happens, happens. If I fail, oh well. What's the worst that can happen? Nobody's going to even remember or pay attention. So, and I just said, boom, here goes. And I started, and it's worked out. But I never would have known this if I hadn't taken those first steps. So yeah, people take advantage. I've been pushing a lot of people now who've been reaching out to me, and
Hmm.
I tell them, Brian is one of the ones who's Brian Schulman is
Hey,
one of the,
Brian.
he's been one of the ones who kind of helped me scoot myself along a little bit, and I got to give much props to him.
Hmm.
if you haven't been checking him out, he's been all over Facebook. He's been all over LinkedIn lately. He's trying to, he's putting the word out there to people that, he's spreading his message about, hey, we're going to get through this. It's a different time. It's a different, that sort of thing. So, I love what he's telling everybody.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you just watch the news, you're just going to get pounded in the head with negativity, all these other things. And it's when we bring light to the stories like that, the positive aspect of bringing these kind of people to light, that people might see it and go, okay, yeah, we're going to be fine.
Yeah.
We'll be okay, people. So, kind of leads to my next question, right? Here we go. It's about this one. One of your taglines is grow your self-awareness on your website. So can you exactly describe what self-awareness is, and how do you teach people to learn self-awareness? Because I know right now it's like a buzzword, and
Sure.
it's something that, like, you hear if you watch Gary Vee talks about self-awareness. But how do you start actually teaching people that and coaching people into learning exactly what self-awareness is?
Yeah, well, it's really the cornerstone of emotional intelligence. It's one of the key components, because it's really the understanding of yourself and the ability to recognize and monitor and, I guess, regulate your feelings and thoughts and behaviors so that you're comfortable in your own skin. You know what you do well, you know what areas are not for you or where you may not shine. Doesn't mean you're bad, but you have to be, you're accountable, and you also can hold your cool, which, okay, we all have our moments. It doesn't mean anyone's perfect and they're always level headed, but especially in a corporate environment, a work environment, you have to be able to kind of know when to choose your battles and really not get super emotional about it. And I think being able to empathize with others is another component. But how I do that is through the assessment framework that I use, because when you go through that, you understand exactly what you do well, which I love, because so often we hear about what you don't do right. And it's everything you do well that's unique to you. 1 in 33 million people have the same top 5 strengths. So how cool is that? And it's not just about being able to articulate it, although that's very, very important, because we always discount what we do naturally well. We don't think it's special because it's just always there below the surface. But when you can communicate that and explain exactly how you do that in that manner, it makes you stand out. But the other reason it's so important when you look at roles that are a good fit is that you really want to find roles where you get to use your strengths daily as much as possible, because the people that do are up to 6 times more engaged and even have up to 3 times better quality of life. And so that's really kind of the sweet spot. And then I talked about values earlier, knowing what's your deal breakers, deal makers, what's I can live with that and I can't. So that's real. It's important, because I always reference, and I've heard Kristen obviously do this, is talking about that executive that has checked every box. They've hit the, like, I'll be happy when I get this, and they have that car, and they have, the vacation house, whatever it is, and then they're in this role and they're not happy, and they don't know why, and they feel guilty, and everybody's like, oh my gosh, what are you complaining about? But it's usually because there's a value misalignment. Like, something is not right with either the role that they're actually doing or the organization. That's when they drill down, that's usually what's not a good fit.
Yeah.
And then so like when you understand those things, when you understand how you like to work, where you like to work, and um,
You know,
what, then you understand going forward. It's not like it tells you you are going to be this one thing. You're going to be a circus performer for the rest of your life, whatever.
yeah,
It doesn't just spit at that out,
yeah,
but it tells you what's right for you, what's not. Doesn't mean you can't do that. I mean, nobody's going to come along and slap you on the hand and say no. I mean, you're a big girl or a big boy. I mean, you can do whatever you want.
yeah,
It's a guide,
yeah,
but but
yeah,
it's pretty accurate.
yeah,
Just
yeah,
saying.
yeah. That's exactly. And you know, if anybody's ever listened to Tony Robbins, that's one of the things that he talks about as well, is the
Hmm.
fact that you have successful people who seem to have it all and yet are still unfulfilled in their lives. So
Hmm.
something's missing. So you see people who gone through this and commit suicide, right? But you assume they have everything under control. So just like if you everybody know who Anthony Bourdain was. He
Yeah.
was all over social media. He was on TV. He had his own shows. So he seemed like a guy that had it all together. And yet, what happened? Um,
Yeah.
so again, it's about finding that fulfillment in your life that goes just beyond money, fame, success. It's like,
Yeah.
and for some people, it is finding what I like to call a path of enlightenment. You want to find, and everybody's got their own way, their own
Hmm.
method to get there. But yeah, I totally agree. I tell everybody,
Yeah.
if you don't know what self awareness is, you need to start looking into, because you're probably going to have a problem somewhere in your life.
Well, yeah. I mean, you see the people that are like, they're just clueless, right? It's like,
Yeah,
hello, yeah,
yeah,
we're talking about you, okay? I mean, they're just not like,
yeah. So
it's
that's
like it's you.
yeah,
Uh,
yeah. So let me ask you the next question, and has
sure.
to deal with what's going on right now. So you working from home, how have you had to adapt to working in this new environment that we all have to, what I call the new normal now? It's because everybody's
Sure.
having to learn to adjust to it.
Yeah, I mean, I was calling it the new normal too, and I'm almost just kind of calling it normal
Yeah,
because honestly, I don't,
yeah,
and you and I were talking about this a little bit before we
yeah,
went live. I think that things will resume,
mhm,
like where we can go out and we can interact, but there are going to be changes in how we do business and how we interact and different things. So as far as like, for me personally, I mean, I'm sharing a house with everyone all the time. I
yeah,
mean, that's happening for everyone, and
yeah,
it's different, and that's why I really hope employers have that empathy, because a lot of them that have not been open to a work from home scenario before, you can't judge it on this scenario. I mean, because a lot of people, especially if they have either like really young toddlers or they have someone that's like a young school age kid, they're having to homeschool, and they're having, the one that's tugging on them, every 2 seconds.
yeah,
And I cannot tell you how grateful I am that my kids are teens, because
yeah,
I would be
yeah,
crying a lot. So
yeah,
yeah, I mean, the first week was kind of a little strange, just everybody getting their own space. And I mean, now, I mean, there's been some really great things come from it. And so I'm an extrovert, but I'm actually enjoying it. But as far as my business, just looking at what adds value now,
yeah,
because everybody's like, should you sell? Should you not sell? What should you do? Well, I mean, we still have businesses to run, and you don't want to appear like, oh, I'm just doing this to make a buck, but it's like, hey, that's kind of what I do. So it's like a fine line, right?
yeah. It
Just being
truly is.
honest. But
It really.
I think that it's right now, especially when everybody's looking at things, they want to find out, okay, does it add value to me now? Is it
Yeah,
something that's either going to help me now, or is it speaking to my situation? And so that's what people are most receptive to, I think,
yeah,
and even the messaging, like from content that maybe we had posted even a month ago,
Yeah.
now maybe a little bit different, because not that it's bad, but people want to hear different things. So I
Things.
think
Yeah.
just thinking about the value. So I'm really, trying to really focus in my messaging to that. Uh, I've always worked coaching one-on-one online, so that really hasn't been a
Yeah.
transition, but I've adapted, and I always offered this option, but I haven't done it, or hadn't done
Yeah.
it previously. Doing corporate workshops for teams, but
Yeah.
especially now with some people are working remotely for the first time,
Yeah.
so there's obviously distraction. There's
Yeah.
people are some are very nervous, some are trying to figure things out, they've
Yeah.
got everything going on. There's miscommunications even when you're in the office and face to
Mm-hmm.
face. And now everything's either coming through email or Slack, or maybe you're doing Zoom or web calls. But I mean, hopefully not all the above. I mean, that's another thing, is companies really have to decide what their channels of communication are, because you can
Yeah.
get bombarded. And you also
Yes.
have to learn those boundaries,
Yeah.
because, and it's funny, it's like like with my husband working from home and him not having the commute, like the one night he was still on calls till like way past,
Yeah.
way beyond
Yeah.
I was like, hello.
Yeah.
It's like it's after 5, but
Yeah.
I mean, he works late, sometimes I'll get home later, but that's the other thing too, is that we have a tendency to have to not, like it's there. And so
Yeah.
you just keep working, or you start working earlier, and you really do have to build in, even if it's only like 5-10 minutes,
Yeah.
like get up, stretch.
Yeah. Most definitely. Yes.
You,
Most
you need
definitely.
those mental breaks, or still, take a walk during the
Yeah.
day, go get the mail, whatever you do, walk the dog.
Yeah. You still got to get fresh air. You still got to
Have
get.
lunch. Yeah, I mean, even if it's at your desk, you still need to do that.
Yeah.
And I think that that's yeah, something. So I am offering like online, and it is discounted, because I mean, obviously it's not live and in person, so it's adjusted, because I
Yeah.
think I'm better in person. I
Yeah.
mean,
Of
it's more
course.
energetic, you can interact, like I can still interact because I'm used to it.
Hmm.
But some people are not as comfortable, obviously. You got
Yeah.
to remember, everybody's not been on camera. So,
Yeah.
you're kind of like, okay, I got to pull this out. You kind of have to warm up the crowd, so to speak.
Yeah.
And
Oh, believe me, I know. I'm learning this now. So getting people
yeah,
on sometimes who don't feel comfortable, it's trying to draw out the best that you can, because again, we're all used to what they call in marketing as VAK, which is visual, audio, kinetic. So
hmm,
senses, see, touch, hear, all those things going on. Well, we've got the touch part taken away. So again, like you're talking about, you're probably better in person, but how do you translate that onto video? Because again, you can see somebody, you can read somebody's body language, you can do all that when somebody's there in doing a presentation, or
hmm,
like you're doing consulting. So um, we still have two of the three, so we can try
yeah,
to take that advantage as far as trying to do this. And like you said, some people aren't comfortable um, being on camera. So
yeah.
let me tell you what, if you've never been on a Zoom call, people, it can get crazy. Um, it can get crazy if you've never been on one before. So especially with the large crowd. So like you said, choosing the channels, picking how you're going to communicate, those are real important. So say you put let's just say you put your sales presentation or a seminar together, knowing
Hmm,
who's going to conduct it, how you're going to get it out to people, how you're going to do that thing. All those are playing important roles right now, and they're becoming vital in how a lot of businesses are still operating. So yeah,
yeah,
and if you can help coach them along in doing that, and also help yourself a little bit, what's wrong with that? I'm all about that. I'm all about, because again, you're taking a different aspect of what you've already been doing, and
yeah.
you're
It's
finding
just
Yeah, go ahead. You go ahead.
No, I'm sorry. I'm like repackaging it,
Yeah.
because I had to really think about when you were talking about building, doing slides and stuff like that. That was one thing I was like going through my presentation. I'm like, okay, I don't want it to just be screen share
Yeah.
because I feel like, okay, it's easy enough to lose people, when they're in the room with you, but at least you can like,
Yeah.
oh, wake up. No. No one's
Exactly.
ever fallen asleep on me.
Yeah.
No. But, and people are at home and you don't know, all of a sudden they're off camera. So you have to really think about all these factors and how you break it up differently so that
Mhm.
it is more interactive, thinking of different questions so that I'm not doing a straight screen share. So that was one of the things that I looked at, but I just wanted to add one thing when you were talking about getting on video is that, I mean, all job interviews now,
Yeah.
at least for the time being, and possibly for a while going forward, even more, we're going to video interviewing. And it
Yeah.
can be intimidating. So if there's someone out there that really is not comfortable, send me a message. I'm happy to just get on a Zoom call. I did that for a friend. I
There you
even
go.
I have an article in my LinkedIn profile of how to set up, because just, testing out, putting books up under either your phone or propping it up, the lighting, where you have it.
Yeah.
I mean, you don't want to go live on that interview like the day of,
Yeah.
because things go wrong. And then there's even some that I've had to do that are really strange, where like you basically kind of have like this little chat bot that gives you uh
Well,
oh, Sherry's asking a question.
yeah.
Yeah. I will tell you.
Yeah.
You have to like basically record your response, and you're
Yeah.
just recording it to a screen. So it's kind of like doing a video and how you do that. So if somebody wants to do that, I'll volunteer, because it is a little nerve-wracking, and you want to do well.
So
So,
yeah,
but
and I'm telling everybody this right here. What I'm doing now on I use an app called StreamYard. So a lot of people are getting more familiar with it, but I think still people have still not known how great a tool and how functional it can be. So if you wanted to do a sales presentation, right, you can do a share screen on here. You can do what I'm doing now, and then you can also get people to interact with a lot of the comments and everything. Because I like Zoom calls, but here's the thing: if one person has bad audio on a Zoom call, you can hear it across every
yeah.
single channel. So I was on one
Yeah.
earlier and somebody had like an open source. So you could just hear a whole bunch of static. And I was like, oh my gosh.
You're
Uh,
like, mute, mute.
Mute, yeah. Hit the mute button on your thing if you don't know how to do that. And
Yeah.
so again, this is what I think this is kind of a little bit more what you could use as far as going out and
That's kind of
making.
cool, because I am looking at different
Yeah,
things.
so
So.
again, you can share everything on your screen. You can either go through a share screen, which just going to show everybody real quick what you can do, and it's pretty simple. But here's what you can do. Go share screen. You can pull it up. If I go to my window, I can pull up my show notes. Right. So this is things that I've shared with people. So here we are. We have it now. Now we're both
Oh,
talking in the
wow.
conversation. Awesome, right? This is a tool.
Yeah.
So you can go through, and again, you can talk to people. You can still continue to have conversations. They can still see you, and pull up all the things that you have on your screen as well, right? And you can,
Hmm.
and then you can start asking people to comment about what you're talking about. So, say if you're having a thing with, and again, you can set it up to a YouTube channel. You can set it up to a Facebook channel. You can set to a lot of these channels, and then you just tell everybody, hey, we're going to be on at 7 o'clock. This is what I need to do. Everybody needs to hop in, and then you can start asking everybody, hey, comment in that you're here, and you'll be able to, since you're controlling it as the
Hmm.
host, you'll be able to see who's commenting, who's not, because that's what I'm doing now. I can see who's commenting, who can do all these other things, but it's a pretty cool tool to get
Yeah.
in
No.
there and share with people. And again, all these fancy stuff that I have on here, anybody can learn to create. That's what I'm doing right now. So I'm putting together video coaching. Just so I can help people learn how to do all this stuff here. And let me tell you what, this is the best part, people. Ding, ding, ding. I did all of this for free. Uh, you can now again you can upgrade to premiums if you want to do what I'm doing and stream like the 5 services. But if you're just going to stream to 1 or 2 services, StreamYard is free. Everybody, I'm
Is
telling you
it
that.
really?
Yes,
I see. I did not know that. I thought that was a paid service. So
no,
that is awesome.
go check it out for the first time, and you can go
Okay.
do tests and that sort of thing. Just set up an account, do
Okay.
that sort of thing, and again, just get you a good web camera if you don't have one. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
Web cameras, streaming web cameras are not expensive. You can find again mine. I bought mine for $27 on Amazon, but there's
Okay.
different ones that go up $35, $40. But you're not spending tons of money. Again, if you're going to do a presentation and put all this stuff together, and it's a great way to build what you want to do as far as like coaching and presentations and this sort of thing. Again, and you can share stuff. So, I have banners and stuff on here that I can save all the time. You can preset all this stuff up. So I have one of Wendy. So if Wendy's watching, this is like her Pika Bunny app, right? There it is. That's one of the things that she sent me. I've again, and you can create all kinds of different things. That's why I said this is a wonderful tool. And again, people, if you're not using it, go check it out. It's a great way to build what you want to do.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just an alternative to doing Zoom because so many people are using Zoom. And you can do the same things that you can on Zoom. You can record everything. So once I'm done, everything's going to be recorded. That's how I go back and make audio clips. That's how I go back and make video clips. It lets you record the video and the audio, so you do separates, and I put it out as a podcast. So again, I think StreamYard is and streaming services like StreamYard are the way to go if you're going to be into video things. So that's why I'm trying to put coaching together, just teach people how to put all this stuff together and make all the slides and all. But I put my unique spin on it, kind of like what Russ does his. I do mine. Everybody does this. And guys, shout out to Russ Johns. He's awesome. Check him out. Go to www.russjohns.com. You'll see a lot of the stuff on there. He's doing a lot of coaching as well. That's what his that's kind of like what the Pirate Syndicate is doing right now, is doing this for businesses. And it's, again, what he's doing is the way to do it. He's in the forefront with a lot of this. So he's putting it together. So if businesses want to do this, all they got to do is just plug and play. So he sets up everything. He does all the behind the technical work. He does all the stuff that they want to put together. And then really, if you're just going to do the coaching, and then here you go, here's the link, hop in, and then it's ready to go. And that's what's awesome about what he does. And that's why I follow him. So everybody, just go out there and check him out. Check out Lori as well, because Lori, again, she's out there doing, guys, if you need coaching right now and you really want to look into it, here we go. I'm offering you another one. I'm bringing these people on because, again, this is what we need right now. People are struggling trying to adapt, especially like you said, people who are all of a sudden furloughed, out of jobs, wondering what they're going to do. What's the next step? Okay, here he is, guys. Reach out. It's a free consultation. Reach out, Zoom call with her, and then maybe you go from there. So you got anything else to add, Lori, before I go ahead and end the show? We've had this has been a good one. It doesn't seem like it. We've been on for almost an hour.
I know. Sherry asked that question about what I missed about anything I don't miss about corporate, but I feel like that might get me in trouble. So I don't know. I mean, I don't miss the politics. I mean, I guess that we'll just leave it at that. But no, this has been fun. I mean, I've learned stuff from you, and I mean, gosh, hats off to you. You've really accomplished a lot getting up to speed and doing all this and your graphics and I'm still learning. It's like every time I'm like, gosh, like I'm editing something, but then I remember, okay, a year ago or a year and a half ago, I didn't know how to do this. And you just keep improving. But I guess if I could add one thing that I think is probably relevant now is that even if you're not in a position where you're a job seeker, I think going through what we're going through right now and people, realizing, okay, that with loss of life and all these plans and things that are happening, and I don't want to like turn it on a sad note, but just the reality. But people, I think, are really taking stock of what's important. And a lot of people may be thinking like, I don't really want to do this anymore. I probably knew I didn't really enjoy it before. And even before COVID-19 and all of this came on the radar, I mean, there was a lot of people that things are working towards a gig economy.
Yeah.
And the one thing that AI, artificial intelligence, that's going to replace a lot of repetitive jobs, but it is not going to replace humans
And
because they still need people to think and people with high emotional intelligence. And you can learn that. I mean,
yeah,
gosh knows. I
definitely.
mean, I was like quick temper. I mean, my husband might still disagree with that, but I have improved. But I mean, I'm just telling you,
Yeah.
you can develop that with
Yeah.
developing your self-awareness and knowing when to choose your battles. Comes with
Definitely.
maturity. Some people never get there, but you can develop it. And I think that there are a lot of people that are really going to be saying, okay, when I get past this, I want to think about what's next for me. And I think we're
Yeah.
all realizing that there's more what's really important, and
Yeah.
and
Well,
and making it happen. And
true.
like you said before, just start. And I mean, whether you work with me or not, if someone wants to just talk, I'm
Yeah.
happy to talk. And I was serious about the offer to do like a Zoom call. Like if you are nervous about interviewing on camera, I can
Guy,
help you. I
guys,
can help you with that.
I mean, what else? What else could
Because
you
I mean, I didn't
ask
have
for?
that. I didn't have that. Although my husband and I were like playing, from his work computer and
Yeah.
mine the first time I had to do one, because it is weird. It's like, okay, wait, that's in the background, and
Yeah.
and it's like, what height is your screen at, or your
Yeah.
phone? And
Yeah. So
uh
you learn a lot of these things going on because
yeah, I mean, there's just little tips, and there's people that will help you.
yeah,
And so just
go up.
ask.
Yeah, that's the one thing I was going to tell you. You never know what you're going to get if you don't ask. So
Yeah.
awesome advice. Guys, check out Lori. You can go to her website. The link is, I mean, you can see it on the website, and I'll put the link in the show notes as well. But it's at www.noabilityconsulting.com. And again, reach out to her, schedule a Zoom call, get everything going, get the ball rolling, and get started today, because now's the time more than ever. And, if you're going to procrastinate, you're going to kick yourself whenever all this passes. You go, I should have used that time for something else. So,
Yeah.
uh, Lori, thank you for hopping on this evening. I really do appreciate it.
Yes, thank you.
It was great. I love these kind of interviews. I love sharing these kind of things. And we had a lot of special, moments. And I got a lot of good stuff, a lot of good nuggets I can share with people afterwards. So, guys, thank you again for hopping on. I do appreciate you coming on the show. And just a shout out to tomorrow's guest. His name is Frank Anello, and his daughter, yes, is a musician. His son is a musician, but why I find him interesting is all the background work that he's having to do and the things that he's continuing to do right now. And he's been a conduit for me to be introduced to a lot of these local artists. So we had a conversation. I found our conversation super interesting, and I said, I have to have you on, even though, so I'm going to have him on tomorrow, and we're going to have a talk just about life, the music industry, and the things that are being changed, that are ever changing in that environment. So again, guys, thank you, Lori, for hopping on. Lori Knudsen, check her out on her LinkedIn page. I'm not going to stop preaching that till you do, but thank you, guys. Thank you, Lori, for hopping on again. Y'all have a good evening, and I'll talk to you guys again tomorrow, 7 o'clock Friday night. Have a good one.
Bye.
Bye-bye, everyone.